crepe paper. They would bind them with crepe paper and flowers, and that was a regular competition.
Right.
With the jams and sponges and things like that. I can remember the old stone waller, George Pierce his name was. He lived in a cottage just at the bottom of Bowl Hill, and we had a stone wall that ran down the side of our property in Gastrels, and the cows would rub against this wall and it would fall down regularly, and he used to come and put it up.
So he would have a living.
He was quite an old man actually, and he worked in association with the farmer usually, and yes, and I can remember his gnarled old hands and his beautiful complexion.
Right.
Yes. One of our neighbours was carpenter, and he made toys, toy engines, dolls' houses, wheelbarrows and things, because things like that were very short during the war. My dad, during the war, he worked at Sperry's, balancing the wheels of the gyroscope.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he was in the Home Guard there as well.
So, yeah.
I have a memory of the warden knocking on our window one night when my mother had left a chink in the blackout.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
George Formby's song?
Yes. Yes.
I'm quite interested to see you've got Arthur Mee's children's encyclopedia over there.
They were purchased when I was at Rodborough School in the scholarship year at Rodborough School. There was this I suppose company came round selling them, and we purchased those, or my father did, and you had one a month, and I believe they were 28 shillings.
Well, I've got a set that's been passed on to me, so
that would have been for each volume, would it? The 28 shillings? I would imagine. It's stuck in my mind.
I imagine, the story for us is that my dad bought them from somebody coming around the door. Would this be late 40s, early 50s? What would
it would have been 48.
Yeah, that would make sense. I treasure them still.
They've been well used over the years, I can tell you, yes.
I treasure mine still.
Yes, that was when I was at Rodborough School, yeah.
The only house I've been in to see another set.
We've got lots of old things here. They're beginning to fall to pieces, actually. Well, there was a story about Kingscourt, the walnut trees. Has anyone told you?
Yeah.
Well, old Mr. Fairley, he had the field which is in front of the street in Kingscourt, and there was a row of walnut trees along the bottom, which, of course, were quite sought after things, and he was aware that these walnuts were disappearing, and so he asked one of the local lads, one of the Didcot lads, to keep his eye out at night to see what was happening there. So this enterprising lad hid up the tree one night, and the story goes that the person that was pinching the walnuts was the local bobby, who I believe was P.C. Workman.
Oh, right. Fascinating.
Somebody told me that story at a funeral last year, and I told him about this remembering Rodborough, and he said, "Oh, I can tell you a story," and I had forgotten that, but it came back. At Rodborough School, there was an old Victorian text across the top of one of the classrooms, scrolls and flowers and things, and it said something like, "I know, I ought, I can, I will." And that had quite a profound effect on me, because I used to sit and daydream and look at this and ponder what it meant. I thought it was a bit, there were no full stops, no commas, but gradually over time the meaning of that sank in, and I think it had quite a good effect on me.
It's a great slogan to have.
And we did drill at Rodborough School. When the whistle went, you formed into lines in your classes, and then there would be, I think it was 4 short, sharp blasts on the whistle, and you sort of shunned and turned and shunned and marched off. That was something left over from previous days.
Yeah.
We read some amazing, or had some amazing things read to us at Rodborough School. This was Captain Forster, who you may have heard about. We had things like Pilgrim's Progress, Don Quixote,
oh crikey,
Peck of Pook's Hill, Rikki Tikki Tavi, Coral Island. Which is amazing, really.
Yeah, I mean, it would have gone over a lot of young children's heads.
And we did Shakespeare in the top class at which, when I got to secondary school, there weren't many schools that had done Shakespeare.
No. Well, I live, in the house where he used to live, and I had a bit of a dream about him last night. Really felt his presence, because I've been talking to, or listening, I should say, to Eileen Connor. She's 91, lives in
Irene Connor,
Irene Connor. And I don't know. She recollections were, got inside my mind. I think at 3 a.m. So I got up last night and did a fair bit of writing, really. But I kind of felt his presence in a very odd way.
Well, he was a very I don't know what to say, really.
No, go on.
He was. I think he'd been invalided out of the army in the First World War, and the story goes that he had a metal plate in his head, which may have accounted for his temper. But I never remember him when he wasn't kind of spitting rage. He absolutely, he'd get into the most furious tempers, and he'd catch hold of you, and he dragged me out of my desk one day, but instead of pulling me out of the desk, he was trying to drag me over the top. I hadn't done anything, he was just using me to illustrate a point, and I was covered in bruises afterwards at my legs, He was, he ruled with a rod of iron, maybe...
Yes, I wrote a poem about him last night that, the metal plate in his head would move while he was trying to sleep, and there'd be shrapnel on the pillow.